Luna, Sunburst, A True Love by Switch Down. The life in Crystal Empire has been very entertainment for Sunburst, especially being now the crystalline and also the magic teacher for Flurry Heart. But it is the one thing that he most wanted to have, his special song pony. Even though that many of his friends had often believed that he was dating Starlight, his childhood friend. But he always said that they are just friends, especially when Starlight is already dating Spike. And he could even consider even dating Starlight, even if he was single. Most of his friends often thought that he was just joking and they were just secretly dating Starlight. But he often said, "No, I'm not dating her. We're just friends, nothing else." But he often said to his friends that. But it happens that his friends don't even want to try to believe it, but after some time they actually saw that Spike was actually dating Starlight. But their stop dating was only about after 2 months. Spike then fell in love back to Verity, who has admitted her feelings for him, and Starlight at the same time had fallen in love with Caramel, another childhood friend to Applejack. Starlight and Caramel had then been dating since. But Sunburst had been often asked by Twilight and her friends if they could put him in speed dating either in Crystal Empire or in Ponyville. But he often said that he has no time for dating at the moment since he is the teacher to Flurry Heart and he is also doing some studies. And even though he even gets often letters from his mother in Sire's Hollow asking how things is going in Crystal Empire, and then one day she wrote to him saying that she is coming over for a visit to Crystal Empire to see how his studying for Flurry Heart is going, how everything else is in the Empire is going for him. And he was at first didn't believe that she would actually would coming over because every time he would go home to see her. But this would be the first time he actually get a visit from his own mother in the Empire. And at first he had no idea what to do, so he actually decided to telling her the truth. That he can't see her because he has been very busy and lately because the student to be a teacher to Flurry Heart and he has a very tight schedule. Otherwise he had him teaching Flurry Heart or that he had to do some of his own studies which often takes entire night. Or he practiced magic with either Shining Armor or Cadence. But his mother often didn't believe him. So she came to Crystal Empire anyways, even if that Sunburst told her not to do. But it happens that his own mother doesn't even listen to him. But when she came there, she was expecting him to waiting at the train station, but he wasn't even there. But Sunburst had then sent at least 1 or 2 guards to the train station to meet up with her. And the guards took her to the palace where she saw her son was actually teaching Flurry Heart some about levitation spells, barrier spells, and even teleportation spells on short distance. And seeing how much he actually been focused to study and even helping teaching Flurry Heart in magic, she was impressed. She was proud of his own son. After that, this teaching was over, she even told Sunburst that she was so proud of him, how well studied he is in magic and how good he is in teaching to Flurry Heart, the heir to the Crystal Empire. and she said to him that his father would be proud as well. It has been 10 years since Sunburst's father passed away during the winter of the flu. But Sunburst was still not completely finished his studies of his own. Sometimes on his spare time he studied a lot of magic, even that has been going to school of Celestia's gifted school of unicorns in Canterlot and during his childhood. Even that he was studying so much in magic, he still had much to learn. Even his mother had tried to get him to go back home to study magic there, but since she found out that Sunburst as a teacher to Flurryheart, she couldn't even take him away from being a good teacher to a princess, a royalty. She thought that her son was so important in the Crystal Empire, which he is. Sunburst told his own mother that he has been going back and forward between his home and the Empire, back and forward since then. But he had been asked if he could consider start dating some pony in Crystal Empire, and then he get tired. Every pony had often asked him why wouldn't he start dating or did some found a special sun pony. But he said to his mother, since he is a teacher to Flurryheart and he studies some magic on his spare time and other helping out of his friends, he doesn't even have the time to do any dating. And since being a teacher often takes time, and he has also recently been a part-time teacher in a local school in the Crystal Empire, so which also takes a lot of time from dating, makes sense, his mother thought. But she wanted him to have starting a family soon. And hearing that from his own mother, he had enough. During the next day, his own mother was waiting for him to get to the castle, to the palace, but he never showed up. It turns out that Sunburst had taken the train middle of the night to Ponyville, and he actually told Shining Armor and Cadence about this, but he made a promise not to tell after he get there middle of the past in the morning. And that made his own mother furious. Why suddenly that he just left town without saying that to her and then just go? So she actually took the train to Ponyville, but when she got there, he wasn't even there. He left the town again, a different train, but he didn't even mention to anywhere to his friends who lives there where he was going. Now he was even more angry. Why would he suddenly ditch that train and get another one and didn't mention where he was going to any of his friends in Ponyville at all? This was very suspicious to his own mother. So she actually asked someone around the train station if they had seen her son. And one of the train station workers actually mentioned a pony similar to his description. But it turns out it was a wrong pony, but that the pony actually sent her to Trottingham rather from what it originally was going to. Because when she found out that particular pony wasn't her son, and she didn't actually, when she came back to Ponyville, she asked the same co-worker, the train worker, but he told her the same thing. But then she realized he wasn't talking about her son. When she listened again, it was actually some pony who had looked like her son, but just worked differently. So she wonders, where was Sunburst? She even went to Twilight's castle to ask her if she had seen or even heard anything where he was going. But he didn't even get to the castle. After the train stepped off the train at the Ponyville, he actually stepped on another train came arrived later on, just shortly after to another destination without even leaving the station itself. Then she asked some of his friends if they had seen him at the train station or any close by, but then they hadn't even been close to the train station. So they couldn't even say exactly if they had seen him or even know where he was went to. But then, actually the same only about 2 days later, Sunburst actually returned to Pony. And he didn't expect to see his own mother there. But then she scolded him out, forcing him to tell where he has been over the past 2 days. But he actually said, I have been in Canterlot. I have been seeing my girlfriend and my daughter. Sunburst's mother just stared at her own son, his girlfriend, and his daughter. It turns out that Sunburst has been secretly dating Princess Luna for the past 4 years, and especially had a 4-year-old daughter with the princess, but no pony didn't know about who the father even were. The only ones who know was actually only Celestia. But she had promised not to reveal the secret to any pony because it would only end up in more discussions. Even that pony would start looking around, asking around who this pony could be. But since Celestia and Luna doesn't even often live in the castle so often, but they often get visitors, often like royalty or other noble ponies. So there were many ponies were suspiciously to be the father, but all turns out to be not even the real father. So ponies then just give up, even try to find the right father. And his mother, she asked Sunburst again, why has he been lying to her over this past few years about this? And he said, I don't even want to talk about this. You know how much this hurt me that you tried to force me into a relationship when I wasn't even ready yet. I wasn't even ready to want to be with some pony until I met Luna the first time and I fell in love with her. But that was time. I thought it was just a flame. It was just a short love. But it turns out to be more. She loved me. And we started seeing each other in secret. And then she told me that she was pregnant. And I was said to her that I will be there for her own daughter, even that I had to be in secret. But why did you marry her? Sunburst was quiet. He had been thinking about marrying Luna, but at the same time he just didn't want to do it. Not yet. He said that he wants to finish his studies at his empire and also be still to teach Flurry Heart. But then Twilight stepped in. But you can still be married to Luna. And even then you can still be married to her and still be teaching Flurry Heart. You can move to Crystal Empire with her and you can stay there with her own family. Sunburst didn't know about this. But he had to say that he needed some time to think. So he left the castle, but before anyone could say anything, he was gone. He actually used a teleportation spell and teleport somewhere else to be alone. Only about the next day, he actually had a visitor over the castle. His mother decided to stay in a hotel rather than the castle. And the next day when she came back to the castle, she saw a very cute dog, filly, a dark black, light black filly running around with Spike. It turns out it was actually Sunburst's daughter, and she was so adorable. She couldn't even stop talking to her. And then suddenly, Luna came out from the library with Celestia and Twilight, even Sunburst. Then they reveal to Sunburst's mother that the filly was her granddaughter, and she was just amazing. Sunburst then revealed to his mother that he had actually been asked Luna for marriage, and she had said yes, and they want to reveal this to the public that Luna is going to be married him, and that their daughter is actually his, and they have been keeping it a secret when they felt ready to reveal this to the public. And only about a few months later, the wedding between Luna and Sunburst actually happened in Canada. First, when this news came out that Sunburst was the father to Luna's daughter, the public didn't have no idea how to react, but nobody could even say much about since they know how important Sunburst is for the Crystal Empire, being a teacher to the Flurry Heart and also a great part of saving the Empire from a certain doom when the Crystal Heart was destroyed. And the marriage between Flurry Heart, Sunburst and Luna remained strong, even though they had a small arguments back and forward. But during the first time Luna remained in Canterlot with her daughter and sometimes visit the Empire with their daughter. But after nearly 2 months after they'd been married, Luna moved to the Crystal Empire with their daughter and moved in a small house that they decided. First, they had been offered to stay in the palace, but they preferred to live in a smaller house for themselves, even though they had the guards as a protection, which they both agreed. But then something did happen. Luna and Sunburst had this big fight, and they could even argue how if they should continue to live in the Crystal Empire, then Luna missed her life in the Canterlot and that they should move back there, even Sunburst. But he said he couldn't because he has a teacher with his Flurry Heart, and that he has still at least a few years left of his studying to her. But he decided to keep his staying there. So Luna took their daughter and moved back to Canterlot, and they didn't see each other until Heartswarming Eve, where they had worked out their problems and decided that it would be best if Sunburst remained in Canterlot in Crystal Empire, studying teaching very hard, that Luna stayed behind in Canterlot with her daughter, but the daughter could visit his own father as often as she could. And it turns out only about 5 years later, this problem was solved, and Flurry Heart had actually been fully taught by Sunburst, and after that he actually was finished with his study, his teaching. He actually then packed a bag and moved to Canterlot to be with his wife and the daughter. And then Sunburst actually started as a teacher and at Celestia's gifted school of Unicorn, and he was actually an excellent teacher. Luna was impressed how good in teaching he was, and now he had more time to spend with her and his daughter. And Sunburst's mother, she often visited him in Canterlot from time to time to spend time with her granddaughter and even spend time with Luna to get to know her even more. And that's how Sunburst and Luna got a daughter together and how they get married. The